Good morning, boys and girls. My name is Wayne Letizia, and I'm a resident at Westminster Woods on Julington Creek. And it's our pleasure to read to you, boys and girls, little stories from our books, because we can't be with you in person right now. But maybe soon we can be with you in person, and that would be wonderful. We'd love to come and meet with you again. But I'm going to read to you a book called Skippyjonjones. Skippyjonjones. The first thing I'm going to read is what the author wrote to say whom this book is written for, in honor of. And if any of you know Spanish, this is in Spanish, so you can know what she says. She says, "Para mi familia a better chance house in Swarthmore, Shana Israel, Isaiah Hoke, Patricia Otley, y Juliana Lucre. Especialmente unas gracias a las muchachas hispanas, Marlene Rijo, Erika Peña y Catalina Regalado, por las lecciones de español para el Skippito." So that's the attribution in the book. Con mucho cariño, Mamalita. And the book starts, every morning, Skippyjonjones woke up with the birds. Do you think Skippyjonjones is a bird? We'll find out. This did not please his mother at all. "Get yourself down here right now, Mr. Kitten Britches," ordered Mama Junebug Jones. "No self-respecting cat ever slept with a flock of birds," she scolded, "or ate worms, or flew, or did his laundry in Miss Doohiggy's bird bath." So Skippyjonjones is a kitten, and he liked to live with the birds. The lecture went on and on as usual. "You've got to do some serious thinking before you leave this room, Mr. Fuzzy Pants," said his mother, "about just what it means to be a cat, not a bird, not a mouse or a grouse, not a moose or a goose, not a rat or a bat. You need to think just what it means to be a Siamese cat. And stay out of your closet," she added, closing the bedroom door. So she put him in his sleeping bed in his room and closed the door. But once he was alone, Skippyjonjones began to bounce and bounce and bounce on his biggie boy bed. "Oh, I'm Skippyjonjones, and I bounce on my bed, and once or 6 times I land on my head." On his way down to earth from a gigantic big bounce, Skippyjonjones shot past his bedroom mirror. "Holy guacamole!" exclaimed Skippyjonjones. "What was that?" And so up he went again, and again it appeared. Then, using his very best Spanish accent, he said, "My ears are too big for my head. My head is too big for my body. I am not a Siamese cat. I am a Chihuahua." Back on land, Skippyjonjones climbed into his toy box and rifled through some of his old junk. After he put on his mask and sword and climbed into his mouse, Skippyjonjones began to sing in a muy soft voice. "My name is Skippito Fresquito. I am not a single bandito. My manners are mellow. I'm sweet like the jello. I get the job done. Yes, indeedo." Clap, clap. Back in the kitchen, Jujubee Jezebel, and Jilly Boo Jones were helping Mama Junebug Jones make lunch. "Can Skippyjonjones come out of his rooms now?" asked Jujubee. "No," answered Mama Junebug Jones. "Mr. Flutternutter is still thinking." In fact, Skippyjon wasn't thinking about being a Siamese cat at all. With a walk into his closet, his thought took him down a lonesome desert road, far, far away in old Mexico. Not long into his journey, a misterioso band of Chihuahuas appeared out of the dust. "Ay, caramba! Who goes there?" asked Skippyjonjones. "We go by the name of Los Chichimangas," growled Don Diego, the biggest of the small ones. "Who are you?" "I am El Skippito, the great sword fighter," said Skippyjonjones. And here's Skippyjon, and here's the Chihuahuas. Then the smallest of the small ones spoke up. "Why the mosquito, dude?" asked Paquito Tito. "I go incognito," said Skippito. "Do you like rice and beans?" asked Pintolito. "Sí, I love mice and beans," said Skippito. "He might be the dog of our dreams," whispered Rosalita. "Perhaps," said Tia Mia, "if he knows the secret password." Leaning toward Don Diego, El Skippito half sneezed, half spoke the secret password into the Chihuahua's very large ear. "Chew, Picho!" "Bless you," said Don Diego. "Gracias," said Skippito. "Then it's true," decreed Don Diego. Yippee yippito! It's the end of Alfredo Buzito. Skippito is here. We have nothing to fear. Adios to the bad Bumbobito." Then all the chimichangas went crazy loco. First they had a fiesta. Then they took a siesta. But after waking up, the chimichangos got down to serious business. Using his paw, Don Diego drew a picture in the sand of great Bumbobito for Skippito to see. A hush grew over the chimichangos, so great that one could hear a whisker drop. "Alfredo Buzito," whispered the crowd. "El Blimpo Bumbobito Bandito." "See," said Poquito Tito, "the bandito steals our frijoles." "Not your beans," cried Skippito, outraged. "See," Poquito continued, "red beans, black beans, Boston baked and blue. Cocoa, coffee, kidney beans, pinto, and jelly, too." "And now he comes for us," Paquito added. "Por qué?" asked Skippito. "Because we are full of the beans, too." Then Don Diego stood tall and in his most somber voice declared, "Yo quiero frijoles." "Huh?" asked Skippito. "The dude just wants his beans back," said Poquito Tito. "And you are the dog for the job." "Me?" asked Skippito. Then all of the chimichangos turned towards Skippito, the great sword fighter. But poor Skippito had no time for a plan, because in the blink of the eye, a gigantic shadow darkened the landscape. The chimichangos scattered in all directions. "Vamos, Skippito, or it is you the bandito will eat-o," they cried. Skippito stood his ground, but his legs shimmied and shook like the jello, and his teeth chattered like the castanets. Then in a muy soft voice he said, "My name is Skippito Frisquito. I fear not a single bandito." But Alfredo Bazitos flew straight for Skippito until the bean-eating bandito hovered only inches from the great sword fighter's face. "Holy frijoles!" cried Skippito as he thrust his sword in the air. Suddenly, pop went the bandito, landing on Skippito's sword, and quicker than one could say Chihuahuas, cheese, and crackers, every kind of bean came spilling out of Alfredo Bazito, the bumblebee bandito. Have you ever heard of a bumblebee bandito? There he is with the beans coming out. Then all the doggies burst into song. Yip, yippee, tapito. Our hero is El Scapito. He's the dog of our dreams who delivered the beans, and now we can make our burritos. So all the dogs were happy, but was Skippito really a Chihuahua? I don't know. We'll find out. But back at home, there was such a ruckus coming from Skippyjon's room that Mama Junebug Jones and the girls just had to find out what was going on. They raced down the hall to the kitty boy's room. "Bangito, Crashito, Papito, Skippito." Just in time to see Skippyjon's closet exploding. And see the closet exploding? Then out flew Candy, beanbag doggies, and the kitty boy with his birthday piñata on his head. "Skippyjonjones," everyone cried. "Holy muchachitas," he said in a muy soft voice. Mama Junebug Jones lifted up Skippyjon and covered his head with fairy kisses. "What am I going to do with you, Mr. Cocoa Pugs?" she scolded. That night, when he was supposed to be going to sleep, Skippyjon began to bounce on his big boy bed. "Oh, I'm Skippyjonjones, with a mind of my own, and I'll bounce on my bed for hours. I know I'm a cat, but forget about that." "Say good night," Skippyjonjones called to his mama. "Buenas noches, mis amigos," said Skippyjonjones. And buenas noches and adios to all you. That means good night and goodbye. Thank you for letting me read a story to you. It was my pleasure.